Welcome to The Point of View. This is your favorite current affairs show here on Channel 1 Television. On The Point of View, we pick the right topics, we get the right guests, and we ask them relevant questions on issues that matter to you. We're live tonight with one of President Muhammad's newly minted Ministers of State. He is the MP for Tamale Central. He's in charge of a very interesting portfolio, the environment portfolio, and his work is already cut out for him. We'll discuss big issues around the environment, mining, forestry, and clean air, all in the next 55 minutes. Stay with us.
Do you want a healthy smile?
Are missing teeth affecting your confidence? Dental implants could be the solution. Hi, I'm Tanya from Bethel Dental Clinic, Ghana, and I'm here to tell you about the amazing benefits of dental implants. If you're missing teeth or struggling with uncomfortable dentures, dental implants could be the solution you've been looking for. First, you want to look for a dentist who is experienced and trained to place implants. Implants are a special metal screw placed in the jawbone where the tooth or teeth used to be. After a while, this screw or implant fuses seamlessly with the jawbone, providing stability and durability. Once the implant is firmly in place, the dentist will place a crown over it. Dental implants look, feel, and function just like the natural teeth, giving you freedom to eat, speak, and laugh without worry. Unlike dentures, which may move, implants are stable and they stay put. So say goodbye to gaps in your smile and say hello to restored confidence. Bethel Dental Clinic, the smile starts here.
Healthy smile.
So tonight we're live with Honorable Muhammed Ibrahim Murtala, who is the MP for Tamale Central, but also the Minister for Environment, Science and Technology. He's joining us to talk about the mandate ahead of him. Good evening, Honorable. Thanks for joining us.
Good evening, and good evening for having me.
How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah, we can't complain.
You've been complaining for 8 years, so now you can't complain. You have to deliver. So, first and foremost, doctor.
Yes.
You got your PhD last week or this week?
Last Tuesday. Yeah.
In political science?
Yeah, in Legon.
I know you have the record of being one of the longest serving student leaders. And so you've already do politics as a hobby. Why do you have to do a PhD in political science again?
Maybe perhaps to have a proper appreciation and understanding all perspective of politics.
Wow. Because you are not that old, but you've done a lot of student leadership.
Yes.
And then, this is your second seat. You've done Nanton.
Yes.
And you've done...
And this is my third term in Parliament.
This is your third term. So you're a three-termer.
Yes.
I see. So what is it about politics that you love so much?
Well, someone asked me whether I knew I was going to get engaged in national politics. And my answer was that maybe perhaps I was inadvertently or unconsciously being groomed for national politics. I tell people that I can boast to be the longest serving student leader in this country.
Hey.
I was actively engaged in student politicking for 10 years or more from SRC. And when I say excluding,
secondary school
and even teacher training college, I was a student leader. I was on Nkrumah House prefect when I was at Tamale teacher training college.
So you were a trained teacher before you came to Legon?
Yes, before I came to Legon, yes. We were the last batch to write the university entrance exams. So when I was a student leader, I got to Legon. I went.
So you entered Legon in 1999?
Yes, 1999, 2000 academic.
But you came as an older person because you had done training college for 3 years.
Exactly. I was. Okay. My horizons had expanded even before I came, and then I was a general assembly member. We're in the same hall, and maybe people do not know that you and I engaged in a heated debate over whether there was some justification in the invasion of Iraq or not. And I guess that
the jury is still out there.
I guess that from hindsight, you would agree that I was right.
Well, I won the day on the
No,
vote.
you didn't. You never.
Maybe posterity proved you right, but on the day I won.
How? You never won the debate because clearly, and from the SRC, I was elected General Assembly member and Congress member of Legon Hall 2 consecutive times.
Yeah.
I served in General Assembly with the likes of Shamima Muslim, Samson Ladi, Ayenini, and my good friend of blessed memory, John Kuma. You know, John and I were very close. You know, we debated. I think on that day he was on your side. He debated finding justification to the
invasion,
the unjustifiable invasion
at
of
the
Iraq.
time.
I mean, at that time, we pointed out to
Can
you,
we move on now?
We pointed out to you that it was just a pact of lies.
Okay.
And I guess I'm vindicated.
No problem.
In the north, I would have told you to look for a white cooler for me.
I see.
So
you did
been
student politics for 10 years?
10 solid years. In fact, from there, I was a teaching assistant when we finished at the psychology department.
Yeah.
Just for 3 months. And then that was a year we created University Students Association of Ghana. So there were some positions reserved for national service persons. So I had to abandon the TA-ship and then took that responsibility as a student leader for University Students Association of Ghana, and at the same time, my national service. Kelly was the first, president of USAC.
Kelly Delata.
Kelly Delati,
the lawyer,
a very good friend of mine. So when we finished the national service, and it means that your tenure had also ended, I contested to be elected as Ghana's candidate for the position of the All Africa Students Union. We had that Congress in Kumasi Teacher Training College. And I was elected. So we went to South Africa, contested, and I became the Secretary General for 4 years. Initially, I was a Deputy Secretary General and subsequently became the Secretary General for 4 years. So both national and continental student leadership, 10 solid years. I don't think that there has been any student leader in this country who was engaged in it actively for 10 solid years.
A lot of President Mohammed's appointees are former student leaders.
Yes.
Haruna Idrisu, yourself,
Okujeto
Ablakwa.
Dr. Mane Buama.
Yeah. And they were all in the same era.
Bauer,
Edward Bauer.
Well, he was once NUC's president.
He went to UCC.
Yes, he was once NUC's president. And I remember when we went to contest in Kumasi, I wanted to contest for NUC's. John Kuma of blessed memory wanted to contest. Omani wanted to contest. So 3 of us, in fact, Amanda Kofi, Dr. Amanda Kofi, she is now a lecturer at Legon, I think Elesiad, and Shamima Muslim, they also wanted to contest. So when we went there, I realized that Legon was going to present 3 candidates. Mind you, Omani had contested the previous year. Then he was a biological science student on campus. You know that time.
Before he went for his clinical year.
Exactly. So, and then he contested and lost. So when we went, 3 of us from Legon. So the view was that if Legon had presented 3 candidates, we were going to lose. I mean, it was obvious. So I called a meeting, and I remember Honorable Harun Edusu called me. And then I called a meeting myself, John Kuma, Omani, and Ekpo. Ekpo was our SRC president. And I said, look, yes. And I said, 3 of us cannot contest. So we need to take a decision on one person, 2 of us withdraw. So for what I did selflessly, I said I was withdrawing. And that we should allow Dr. Omani to contest, because he had contested the previous year. My good friend John Kuma said he wasn't going to withdraw. So that was the reason why we presented 2 candidates. So it was then justified enough for us to rally people behind Omani. And that was what happened. And then Dr. Omani became the NUC's president.
All of this we're discussing is about 20 years ago.
Yes, 20
now
years ago.
Now you are in government. A lot of people you used to be in student leadership with are ministers.
Yes, a lot.
Do you guys feel ready to deliver?
I think we are.
How has student leadership prepared you for these high offices?
Well, the challenge is, there's nothing more treacherous than student politics, and there is nothing more demanding as far as politics is concerned than student politics. Many people who have never had the opportunity to be engaged in student politics may disagree, but those of us who have done student politics and are in national politicking, we know that student politics actually tutelage us, it nurtured us. It helped us grow to understand the nuances of politics. It may not be national, but my case is different because I did it beyond the nation Ghana. I did continental student politics. It opened my horizons. It brought me closer to several experiences.
So is it fair to call you a professional politician?
Well, not
necessarily. As in your profession is politics. Because you were trained as a teacher, your PhD is in political science. So politics is the only thing you like.
When I was doing student, many people, I'm a development planner by profession. My first, second degree was planning in KNUST.
Development planning.
Planner, yes, by profession.
Special or no development planning.
Development planning in general.
I see.
And in fact, in Legon, when I came back to do another master's, it was international relations and diplomatic practice. So you can call me an international relations.
But politics is what you like.
Yes, I have LLB. That's one thing many people do not know. I
So
didn't.
hold on. Let's take it one by one.
Do it
Let's take it one by one. You're a teacher, trained teacher.
by profession.
When you were in Legon with us, you did your first degree in
Psychology. Yes.
Then you went to Tech to do what?
Planning.
Planning.
Yes.
And you have a master's in what else?
International relations.
From
and
Legon?
From Legon.
And
Yes.
you have an LLB.
Yes.
And then you have a PhD.
In political science.
Why?
Because I always want to learn.
Wow.
I always want to learn.
Let's talk briefly about. I'll come to the reason I
Yeah.
brought you. I'm trying to build a foundation. Tamale politics. How come you are MP for Tamale Central?
In fact,
This
I
is your
did
second
another
term.
course in the US, sponsored by the World Bank, but
okay.
I don't even mention it.
Let's not go
in
there.
job.
What I'm trying to understand is, you used to be MP for Nanton,
Yes.
and now you're MP for Tamale Central.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
When we won elections in 2008, I was appointed a deputy national coordinator under the National Youth Employment Program. In 2006, when I was doing my second degree in KNUST, and then also as Secretary General of the All Africa Students Union, that was the year Professor Waiseni defected to NPP. And then there was a by-elections in Tamale. I was the youngest among the 9 candidates who contested, and I came third to Honorable Inus Hussein. He won, and I think I was the only person among those who contested who congratulated him. Many of the contestants angrily left the place, and I supported the campaign. 2008, I contested Honorable Inus Hussein again in Tamale Center. You remember? That was the year they did the primaries of all the consensus and left Tamale Central and came back to do it. And I remember after the elections, my senior brother, Honorable Inus Hussein, said, I really gave me a run for his money. So when I lost again to him, then Nanton constituency, we lost that seat. We lost it in 2008. My father is from that constituency, and you can contest either by heritage or lineage, or by birth, or by,
So you live in
longevity.
Tamale?
Yes, I live
but
in
your
Tamale.
father is from Nanton?
My father is from Nanton. So I went to Nanton to contest the primaries, and by Allah's will, I won the seat back to the NDC. And unfortunately, in 2016, I lost that seat. So I decided, in fact, that was the time I took the decision to just do my PhD, and I had discussions with the likes of Professor Atuguba, and who advised that, look, you have several second degrees. Why not spend the time to do your PhD instead of going to write the law entrance exams? And as a matter of fact, I didn't do law to practice. Frankly, it was Honorable Patrick Buama who insisted that I should go and do law. And he even bought the form.
Patrick Buama?
Yes, he insisted.
MP for this constituency?
Yes, he insisted that I should do law. He's a very good friend of mine. He said, look.
He insisted you should do law? He
yes,
bought the form for
I
you?
didn't want to. He even bought the form and insisted that I should do the law. So I did, and my view was just to do it for academic purposes. I may be doing LLM. That's what that I think that I need to do. I want to end up in academia.
Okay.
Everything I do, my view is that politics is something I do for now, but with time I would want to end up in academia. Nothing pleases me than teaching.
Now that Mr. Muhammad has won the election so convincingly,
Yeah.
what challenge do you think he has, and what did he tell you in appointing you to be minister for this sector, as his expectation?
Well, first and foremost, I have to thank His Excellency the President for giving me the opportunity. It's a privileged opportunity, and this is not the first time the President deems it fit to give me the opportunity to serve in his administration. As a very young man, in 2012 when we won, he made me a deputy minister for information. Many people do not know I went to employment briefly.
Before you went to trade?
Yes, before I went to trade.
Okay.
I was there one day when I got a call that His Excellency the President was moving you to employment, and I thanked the one who called and asked the person to extend my sincere gratitude and thanks to His Excellency the President. I packed my bags and moved to that ministry. I was there, I think, for 2 weeks when I got a call again that they were moving me to trade and industries. And I thank once again His Excellency the President. So I have to.
So you served under Kospio Gabra?
Yes.
As trade minister?
As deputy trade minister.
So as information, who was your boss?
Information was Ayaraga, myself, and Honorable Felix, my very good friend and a brother. So, and I got to know Felix in KNUST. And it was Mani Buama who told me he has a friend, in fact, he said he has a brother in KNUST who he introduced to me. So I called Felix. Felix came to where I was, and that was when we became very, very good friends. And he's been like a brother to me. And
so this role of
served,
environment,
yes,
was what is the angle to it? Is this something, because I don't know you as an environmentalist. It's not to say that's the need to do that work, but what's your, you've done information, you've done trade, you've done 1 day of employment. So was it a surprise, and what is the outlook?
First and foremost, in the SIF Parliament, I served in the Environment Committee. That is one thing many people do not know.
Okay.
And many people have focused on just environment, neglecting the technology and science aspect of it. A lot of the things that they do border on the course I did in my first, second degree in planning. A lot of the things we do there border on planning. But as someone who is given the opportunity to work, and I do understand that that ministry is the ministry, one of the ministry, if not the ministry, you have a lot of scientists and technical people. I'll tell you a joke. When I had engagement with heads of various institutions and we're doing self-introductions at various agencies under the ministry, anybody who introduced himself or herself will say, I'm Professor this, I'm Professor this.
Everybody was a professor.
So it got to a time, I think the Nuclear Regulatory Authority, he is a doctor. And then I wanted to address him. I said, Professor. No, I'm not a professor. I'm a doctor. And I said, I thought everybody here is a professor. I mean, heads of various agencies are professors.
So what are the
even
agencies?
directors?
Is CSIR?
Yes, is there a guy, Ghana Atomic Energy, is nuclear
regulatory. Is it all the CSIRs?
Yes, all the CSIRs. CSIR is the mother agency, and all crop research institute, you know,
food research, animal research,
all and
industrial research.
Yes, and all of them falls under CSIR. You have, we even have waste management fund, which is established to look at electronic waste management.
So how many agencies are under you? Do you know?
About 6 agencies.
Full of professors?
Yes, full of professors. Full of professors and PhD holders.
EPA is also under you?
EPA, a fantastic professor, Professor Kuluchi.
Wow.
She is the EPA boss. They all fall under the Ministry of Environment. So I understand the ministry I am appointed to work. I do appreciate that. And I told them, I said, look, I would give everybody the free rule to play. Everybody, I wouldn't serve as an Inselbeck on the way of anybody executing his or her responsibility, as long as what they do is in sync with the vision of His Excellency the President and the policy direction of the President. I wouldn't have any problem at all with anybody. I do know that I am a political leader of the ministry, but the technicalities of the ministry is managed by the technical people, and I understand that. So I know the ministry that I have been appointed to work. So and I have a fantastic working relationship with these professors and this PhD.
Have they told you about financing and funding? Because the problem with Ghana is that we don't fund technology enough. So they have the idea, they don't have the money for the research. A lot of them have to depend on donors. I'm sure in your first meeting they've told you that we need more money to be unlocked for us to do the kind of research we want.
If you observed, I have been having some engagement with the various agencies, and I have visited all the agencies. I have visited the agencies, I've interacted with the directors, the heads of the agencies, and even the staff of the agencies. I wanted to be brought to speed to appreciate the challenges that are confronting them and the opportunities that are available that this state can take advantage of. And I can tell you, when I visited these agencies, I think that there are a lot of things we depend on other countries that we can't do them in this country. If you take GAIC, for example, there are a lot of things, health institutions, hospitals are dependent on so-called experts, you know, outside this country that GAIC and its institutions have the capacity to provide. If you go to CSIR, the Crop Research Institute, that you would realize one thing, that there are a lot of things that they do that if we give them the needed resources, they'll be able to turn around the economy of this country. And that is some of the things that I think that I'll be making a case with His Excellency the President. Having visited these people, I asked all of them to give me a paper, so that I'll be able to make a stronger case. And it is gratifying to state that some of them have started giving me papers as to not just the challenges that they are confronted with, but the prospects, the opportunities that this state can take advantage of. And we are complying.
Last point there before we do Galamsey. Generally, climate and environment are sensitive topics. But financing has become a problem because the US administration's views on a lot of the science is different from their predecessors. So they worry among that community that financing for the next 4 years is going to be tough globally, because once US pulls out of something, a lot of the money doesn't come. How does that complicate your mandate?
I think it's a reminder to us as a state, we ought to start looking at innovative ways by which we can reduce the dependency on other states. It's a diplomatic matter, and we have a lot of relationship, diplomatic relationship, commercial relationship with the United States of America. So the decision to withdraw some of these finances, for me, is something that we shouldn't be that worried about. We may continue with the negotiation, to continue with some of the bilateral, agreements we have with the United States of America. And it is looking positive. You have a president whose demeanor alone is respected globally. And I know that the president has taken the necessary steps to see how best we can find innovative ways of continuing with some of this assistance. But it is also important to say that, yes, the state, President Muhammad is committed. I have had some conversations with him, and he's committed to increasing the budgetary allocation for the purposes of research in this country. And he's committed to supporting some of this. We are engaging some consultants to see how we can look at some international funding sources for the execution of some of our projects. And I can tell you that it's looking very positive.
Okay.
I shall be having a meeting on Friday with some people from the World Bank and the United Nations in the area of how we can explore other innovative ways of getting funding that will be supported by budgetary allocation for some of these institutions.
We'll take a break. When we come back, the environment is under the cosh. Galamsey continues. Indeed, his colleague, Lance Minister, was in Parliament today, giving a very grim outlook for the fight against Galamsey. When we come back, we'll talk about how he intends to lead that fight against illegal mining. Stay with us.
Here's Kwame and Yao. After hours of planning, both have locked in the same perfect multi-bet. Big win for United, over 1.5. And both teams to score in the London Derby. But who could have picked Leicester over City? Or a high-scoring game at the Bridge? There's nothing worse than having your perfect multi-bet missing. But there's nothing better than having it saved. Bet Saver. Win, even if your bet misses.
When I'm campus and not well, I worry no more. Thanks to Dragnet. With the Dragnet app, I can chat with a pharmacist anytime for my medications, and they are delivered to me right here on campus.
I am a trader. If I need drugs, I cannot leave my goods and visit the pharmacy. All I need to do is click on the call feature on the Dragnet app and I speak with the pharmacist. The drugs are delivered to me right here. Dragnet, ahotoswo papa.
As a businessman, moving around to search for my medication could be very frustrating. But now, with the Dragnet app, I'm able to upload all my prescriptions and have them delivered to me wherever I am. The Dragnet app also allows me to order refills for my mother to treat her chronic illness. Dragnet delivers all the medications to her on time. It's so reliable and convenient. Download the Dragnet app from the Google Play Store or App Store. Dragnet, your #1 online pharmacy.
Life is a celebration of moments. Big and small.
The sun is scorching, I'm feeling the heat.
With Piva Drink, every moment becomes a refreshing celebration. From the beach to your home, in every corner of your world, Piva Drink adds a burst of refreshment.
Give me Piva cocktail and tangerine.
Celebrate every moment with Piva Drink. Refreshment for every occasion. Piva Drink, a taste you will love.
P for Piva.
This advert is FDA approved.
akuafo a omoyi adwuma ensuo ya ho ene ye nyina ye didie me me gina ha kura ma do ho a se nsuo no kura no menya bi mfanye de enye nanso ye hwese Galamsey no me se kuroi adwumadi a ye die esanse ye ni adwuma bia eka nsuo ya ho ne ye nyina ye didi nkakra ba akofo so onde obefa nsuo ya se no na sabi kuruma nyina soso aba ahweti ne asesa enya ne kwaso no
Galamsey nsensem no de ye ka se emfa hawo mre ya na ye toro o hawo de e de bebre papa if se dam ni ne se o betu gala wa ha ye bere ne yakọ ne aba nsuo be ne ye benom se tu gala yi ne se dam yi ese ya enfa ne ye ko se nsuo a ye nom ano no enka cha na mo yi no okumase no krom ha ne fire eno nsuo ni bi ne ye de noa eno bi ne ye de hohoro ho eno bi ne ye de don aburo endi se wotu gala na o de aduro agumu a ye bere ne aye ye bere ne yakokumase ye bere na chese ye didi ye mabunu so didi eno a ne ye de ye petra ye didu aburo kane bibia nsuo na ne ye de ye endi se gala ne de ye ka se nhayen a na ye to ni tu ne ye tu o hene ne so sa.
I am on the field as the CEO, monitoring the Galamsey issues, monitoring the situation of the water pollution. All my staff in all the regional offices and the area offices must get out there on this same mission to make sure that people are complying to the environmental rules. So we're currently standing below the bridge of Biposo, and we can see the Pra River at the moment. The color, you can clearly see from here that it's contaminated, and this is as a result of the illegal mining people are doing inside the water, right from the eastern region part of the River Pra. Then the contamination or the polluted water gets to this side. So currently we are here to pick sample of the water. I've received a number of proposals for the EPA so that EPA can clean up these water bodies all in the country where we have the polluted water. This, we have interacted with the community people, and during our engagement, we got to understand that they used to use this river for cooking and other domestic purposes. Today, they are not able to use the river again at all for their domestic purposes. The Environmental Protection Agency is asking, actually pleading with community members, especially where this illegal mining in our water bodies are happening, to let EPA know, and also they have the capacity to actually prevent people from mining illegally in their water bodies. We are also pleading with chiefs and elders that they should stamp on their authorities so that their rivers that people use, the community members use for their domestic purposes, will not be destroyed or polluted the way we are seeing it. The EPA is calling on all community members, especially the areas where illegal mining is happening in their water bodies around them, to stop, or they should use their power as community to stop them, because we know that this illegal mining is not done by the community people, it's done by people, strangers, or people who don't reside in the community.
So that was Professor Brown Kluche, who's the director of the EPA. Earlier on, you heard residents of Amache Barry in Ashanti complaining about the effects of Galamsey on their farmlands and their water and their foods. So, just to be clear, are you the minister in charge of dealing with Galamsey or the lands minister?
Well, it's a multifaceted challenge, and therefore, if you want to find solution to a challenge such as that, you need a multifaceted or multi-pronged, measures. And of course, it is not only the Ministry of Environment that should be responsible. We have several ministries: Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, Ministry of Interior, Ministry of Defense, because it has security implications, Ministry of Local Government, and Chieftaincy Affairs. We all have a duty and a responsibility.
So at least 5 ministries?
Yes. So what we are doing at the Ministry of Environment is we are deepening the stakeholder engagement, because you cannot fight it without engaging everybody. You need to engage, the chief or traditional leaders, and that is why you need MMDCs and also the Ministry of Local Government, which is a mother ministry, to be playing a role. And here's the case: Chieftaincy is added to Ministry of Local Government, and you can't have a better ministry that will coordinate the activities of some of this effort if you do not have the minister, charged with the responsibility to do so. We are engaging the Ministry of Defense because the security implications.
Yeah.
Some of the people who are engaged in it are heavily armed. They are armed to the teeth, and you need some force. Interior, the border on domestic security, and that is why the Ministry of the Interior is also involved. Of course, the Ministry of Environment plays a lead role. Galamsey is a challenge because the environment is that which is affected, but you cannot do it alone. That is why when we were inaugurating the team to look into this issue, it was done between myself and my senior brother, Honorable Amakofi Bua, to see how best we can galvanize forces together to be able to overcome this. And I think that the media also has a role to play. The media has a huge role to play. So what we are doing currently is broadening and encouraging this, stakeholder consultation. We're also looking at sensitization and education. I saw a video where a gentleman who sold his cocoa farm, and whilst they were cutting the cocoa trees, and he said that he had been a cocoa farmer for several years and he could not even pay his children's school fees. Now, with the monies he's getting from the Galamseyers who bought his cocoa farm, he cannot pay his. So clearly, that such a person needs some education to appreciate the gravity of the decision to sell the cocoa farm. Because one, you may get the money to pay, but what happens tomorrow? The livelihood of people are affected. The health, consequences of the actions are also affected. To that extent, even Minister of Health and Minister of Agri all have a role to play in this matter. So that is why we are engaging all the stakeholders in our fight against the Galamsey.
So far, what I've seen with Galamsey, if you permit me, almost every serious person is just talking. So January 30, Muhammad says, I'll sanction any minister involved in Galamsey. Same day, Bagwin says, MPs who engage in Galamsey will lose their seats. Next day, I'll soon engage traditional leaders on Galamsey, Amakofi Bua. Then Ashanti Regional Minister, stop mining water bodies or face action. Then EPA boss, direct regional officers, intensify Galamsey fight. Then there's another one where only 40 out of 800 Galamseyers have been prosecuted. It seems the government is new. Is it fair to say we are just hearing a lot of rhetoric?
No.
It's a lot of talk.
No. In fact, we want to do less talking and much work. And
I've just read about 8 statements.
Yes.
Everybody's saying.
And I can tell you, what we are doing is profound. And there are some of the things I can't put out there. But I can tell you that what we are doing today, I had some engagement with some, institutions and organizations to see how we can stop the Galamsey and at the same time restore the water body. President Muhammad had this Blue Water Initiative and every man per tree. And I said when I was being vetted that I want to take it further, every child per tree. Kids are very competitive, that if you extend it to children in school, that every child is given the opportunity to plant a tree and nurture that tree. Not the kind of planting of trees we observed, which the Ministry of Lands was engaging, where millions of Ghana cedis were sunk into the so-called planting of trees that you can't even find. But see, there is no denying the fact that politicians are engaged in Galamsey. And I'll give you a classical example. I remember Ajia Alima Mahama, then Minister for local government. And this was when she had engagement with MMDCs, and it was on national television. And she said, and I quote, "We know those of you who are engaged in Galamsey, and we shall soon come after you." So it means that she was telling the people of this country that MMDCs were engaged in Galamsey under President Nana Addo and that they will come after them. They never went after them. It's shocking to note that as of 2022, the state had taken a decision to withdraw security forces who were preventing people from engaging in Galamsey in all the Galamsey areas. 2022, they had withdrawn everybody.
So as we speak, has the state put security at Galamsey places?
That is what we are working on. And I don't want to talk about certain things because it borders on security. What I have told you is that by the will of God, within some few months, the people of this country will see some drastic change.
The Ghana Coalition
as far
against
as our water
Galamsey
bodies and Galamsey are concerned.
The Ghana Coalition against Galamsey petitioned the president to take action regarding allegations of illegal mining by the member of parliament for our win, Oscar Labi.
Yeah.
Are you aware of this, and has the investigation commenced?
Anybody who is engaged in Galamsey activities, whether you are a minister or a member of parliament, you wouldn't be spared. and President Mahama has made it very, very clear. And me, as a minister responsible to lead this fight with other ministers, we are not going to renege on that responsibility. We can't afford to fail President Mahama. The people of this country gave him the overwhelming, majority and the victory because of some of the promises President Mahama made. And one of the promises he made was to fight this Galamsey menace. So we cannot afford to fail President Mahama.
So are you aware an investigation has gone on? Because the petition is in front of me here, where they have made a direct allegation against an NDC MP.
Well, I'm not aware of any investigation, and I may not be aware of any investigation because it borders on security, except that I have some briefing and I haven't had any briefing. One thing I can say is that whoever is engaged in Galamsey activities, whether you are a minister or a member of parliament, you will not be spared. So it's a simple message to those who are engaged in it that you better watch out. This fight is a fight that will be relentless. This fight is a fight that will be geared towards achieving a results. And our expectation is that by the time we get into the next elections, the people of this country should say, yes, President Mahama, we voted you to deliver, and indeed you have delivered. And I have no doubt in mind that he will deliver as far as...
You are saying that for security reasons, you cannot tell me whether security forces have been deployed to Galamsey sites.
Yes, I can say that.
Because there are almost weekly reports of Galamsey happening as we speak. You just saw the people from the Ashanti region say that there was Galamsey happening, which was affecting a river that was giving them water. So as you and I are sitting here, people are probably mining.
Bernard, if you want to deploy security and if you want to ensure that it is not just the deploying security alone that you can fight Galamsey, it's a multifaceted approach that we are using. And I don't think you expect me to sit on your program and say, this is what we are doing.
But you need to give me an assurance that you are working. So to say you will deal with it, you've been in office for at least a month, have you not?
Bernard, we have been in office for months. President Mahama has just finished constituting his cabinet. And I'm saying that we are far advanced as far as the fight of Galamsey is concerned. We are not just looking at just deploying security and stopping those who are engaged in it. You stop here and then the next day they move here. That is why I have told you that one, there is intelligence gathering which is far advanced. Two, there is stakeholder engagement. And I've told you that we have had series of engagements and meetings involving traditional authorities, involving politicians, involving MMDCs, involving even youth of those areas. We are far advanced. You see, we don't want to have a knee-jerk response because we have done that in the past and it never yielded any positive results. We want to do things right this time around. And that is why we feel that it is one thing stopping people from engaging Galamsey, but another thing whether the people will come back to start it all around. That is why you need to engage people. That is why you need to put in measures that as you stop people from engaging in it, you begin with steps to restore our water bodies, to reclaim the degraded lands. And that is precisely what we are doing. We don't want to have the experience in the past again, but you need a political will to do that. And President Mahama has demonstrated that he is not going to relent.
Your colleague minister today said to Parliament that only 40 out of 800 illegal miners have been prosecuted so far. That's very, very low.
Absolutely.
What is the plan in relation to prosecution of people involved in Galamsey?
Well, everybody who is involved in Galamsey, as far as the investigation is done by the appropriate state institutions and the necessary arrests are done, it doesn't matter whether you have any ties with Ashawang. We live in a country where Ashawang was allowed to leave this country, even which was an attack on our judicial system. That is not going to happen. Whoever is engaged in it. And President Mahama has demonstrated that in the past, that under the Fourth Republic, Bernard, the only political party that had the courage to prosecute members of their government who engage in anything illegal or criminal is President Mahama and the NDC. Under the Fourth Republic.
In opposition, you supported the civil society groups who said there should be a moratorium on small-scale mining. Why haven't you ordered that or asked the president to order a moratorium on small-scale mining?
We are just less than 1 month. And I'm saying that we haven't even had a first cabinet meeting. So if you ask me this question, that would be unfair. But only to say that President Mahama promised that he was going to repeal LI 2464,
which allows mining in forest reserves.
And what? Yes. You see?
LI 2464.
246. You know
have you begun processes to do this?
In fact, we have. We have, and we are far advanced. I, as the minister responsible for initiating the process to ensure that this particular LR is repealed, far advanced.
So you are very sure that this LR will be repealed?
Far advanced.
Are we talking days or weeks or months?
In fact, far advanced. Maybe within days, the people of this country will hear something on it.
The law that allows mining in forest reserves definitely is going to go.
Yes, because look, against every single advice given by civil society organizations, clothed with the capacity to ensure that our environment is sustained in mining, President Nana Addo ignored everything and went ahead with that. And everybody knows that it was not just to pave way for people to mine in this country, but to pave way for a particular company to engage in mining. Even before the law, people were engaged in mining in forest, reserve forest areas and water bodies. People were engaged in that, but they were doing it illegally. But the moment that law was passed, it gave people the opportunity to go ahead to destroy our reserve forests and water bodies with alacrity. And that is why President Muhammad says that, look, we need to take a second look at that law, repeal it, and come up with a law that will be acceptable. Because there are some concerns that have been raised that assuming that we find certain natural resources that will be beneficial to the growth of this country, and they are found in forest or reserve areas, what are we going to do? And those are the processes that we have actually started.
Yesterday, some youth of a place called Obuonhu Fanti in Ayensuano demonstrated against what they describe as the unlawful burning of excavators by the Forestry Commission. Now, the Forestry Commission officials burnt excavators they found in the forest because they said they were allegedly being used to invade the Tiwa forest and the Ayensu River. Does your ministry endorse the action of the commission in burning the excavators?
Well, I don't know the circumstances under which those excavators were burnt. So I will not be able to sit here to say that we endorse it or not. If I am aware, these are the reasons why the excavators were burnt, then maybe I will be in a better position to either endorse that or condemn same. So I will not be able to speak to you. One thing I can tell you, Bernard, this government is poised in making Galamsey or illegal mining unattractive. And that is precisely what we're going to do.
There's a big conversation also about illegal logging. And I'm bringing these things because they affect the environment. In opposition as well, your colleague Clement Park was very concerned about rosewood.
Yeah.
This week there was a story from the Western North region about people doing some wanton logging. Has that come on your radar? And what is your general view around tree cutting for commercial purposes?
It depends on the circumstance under which those trees are logged. If you do something that is permitted by law, because clearly, even mining, we are not saying that there shouldn't be mining. That's not what we are saying. But there shouldn't be illegal mining. Sometimes people misconstrue that into thinking that all mining is mining that the government condemns. If you look at the new EPA law, the new EPA law makes the EPA permit precondition to any other permit that anybody will get. And for me, that is something that is very positive. Because people have had permits from other state institutions without even the permit from EPA, and then they will go ahead and engage in some of the destructive activities that they engage in. Now, with the new EPA law, it has given the EPA some authority that for you to even go ahead to mine, then you should have had you should have had the EPA law, even for exploration and everything to be done. So these are some of the things we are looking at. Look, Bernard, the focus of the ministry is not only limited to Galamsey. It's not only limited to the environment. The technology and science aspects of the ministry is another thing that we are giving tremendous attention to. Of course, Galamsey is a major issue. It affects our livelihood. It affects even our existence. If you observe my vetting, I made references to biblical quotations and Quranic quotations. The need for us to ensure that the environment in which we live is protected. If you read Genesis 2:15, and if you come and read Quran chapter 2, verse 30, the good Lord or Allah or God is admonishing us to do everything possible to preserve the world in which we live in. I did that because I wanted to send a subtle message to religious leaders that even on their pulpits, in what we call in Islam, mimbar, they should take it up a moral duty to advise people to do everything possible to protect the environment. So if you don't look at this, I mean, Ghanaians are largely religious. Now, if we bring in religious leaders, we bring in traditional authorities, we bring in youth groups, we bring in civil society organizations in this fight, for me, that is one surest way of us getting a permanent solution to it.
Okay.
So we are not just looking at stopping people from engaging in Galamsey. We are also looking at alternative livelihood. Okay. Because if you stop people and they say the justification, they don't have anything to do. Because how on earth could anybody sell his cocoa farm for the purposes of Galamsey? And the justification is that he can now pay his children's school fees. So we don't want any occurrence of that. So we are looking at alternative livelihood in the area of agriculture, in the area of entrepreneurship, where we can build the capacity of people who live in such areas to be able to have some meaningful life, so that it will not be attractive for you to get engaged in the Galamsey.
We're still in the point of view, talking to the Minister for Environment, Science and Technology. When we come back, we'll deal with a few other issues, sanitation in relation to noise, water, and some of the issues around our urban spaces. Stay with us.
After a long flight, Safari Homes gives you the peace to unwind. A short drive from the airport, convenient for all. For nature lovers, Safari Valley Resort is a hidden gem, surrounded by lush greenery and luxury amenities. A place where you can truly escape. Now for water adventure, Aqua Safari Resort has it all. Jet skis, canoe rides, kayaking, and a visit to the estuary. And for more excitement, Safari Eco Park is the perfect place to get closer to some amazing animals.
Visit Safari World in Ghana, together bringing you closer to nature.
Here's Kwame and Yao. After hours of planning, both have knocked in the same perfect multi-bet. Big win for United, over 1.5. And both teams to score in the London Derby. But who could have picked Leicester over City? Or a high-scoring game at the Bridge? There's nothing worse than having your perfect multi-bet missing. But there's nothing better than having it saved. Bet Saver. Win, even if your bet misses.
One upgrade is nice, but a double upgrade is amazing. And that's how we do it. Upgrade today to get even more with Step Up. If you're on GoTV Max and upgrade to GoTV Super, you'll get way more with GoTV Super Plus.
It's so cool!
Get big value. Get big entertainment.
Very good.
Perfect! Upgrade and get even more with GoTV. GoTV. Love it.
Welcome back. We're still here with the Minister for Environment, Science and Technology, Ibrahim Murtala Muhammed. Your plate is already full. Accra is getting filthy. We've done rounds of checks. A lot of rubbish uncollected. I'm told sanitation is under local government, but it's still environmental. What is going on? What is wrong with the way we manage refuse, which has created such a mess in our urban spaces, particularly the capital?
Well, I don't know whether you monitored my vetting. I did indicate that my view is that we should demonopolize waste management in this country. It was misconstrued into thinking that I was targeting certain, private entities in this country. That is not the case. The concerns that the people of this country have expressed repeatedly is one, efficiency, effectiveness, and value for money. I'm not saying that those private entities are not doing well, but they need to do more. If we demonopolize it, if we broaden it to involve local authority and involve some SMEs, I think that is one surest way. There are still people, packets of young men, who go around certain areas that Zoom Lion is not reaching out, who go around to collect, people waste and rubbish. They still do that. So what if we formalize it? What if the state has some intervention where you can engage local authorities to be able to do some of these things? The waste or the rubbish that is collected in each city and each town and each village are not the same. So some do not have the capacity to do that, some do. The waste that some indeed produce in certain communities are not the same as other communities. So when you have a system where the Common Fund Secretariat would release money to an entity, flat, it doesn't matter whether this particular town, produces more waste than the other. That is not fair. That is not fair. So you have a place like Tamale, and then a place like Accra, or Yendi, and Savulgu, or a place like Techiman, and they certainly will not produce equal waste. But under the MMDC and the arrangement that is being done, flat amount of money is given to a private entity for the purposes of managing the waste.
You think it's inefficient?
If it was efficient, I don't think that would be
but
complaining.
Is this your remit? Is sanitation management your remit or that of local government ministry?
It's that of local government, but once it poses a challenge to the environment, it becomes the responsibility of Ministry of Environment.
So what are you going to do? Are you going to talk to that ministry or EPA going to change some laws?
Certainly we have to work. We need to work in a complementary fashion. There are certain issues that we involve each other to see how best we can all come in. If you take the Agbobulushi, where we have the e-waste management, we have a collection center. That collection center was put there so that the young men who bring in this electric waste, what they do is that they burn them, they are exposed to the hazards and subject the entire people in Accra to the consequences of their actions. Even they themselves, they don't even use protective clothes. They burn them. It affects their lives. It affects the lives of everybody who lives in Accra. So we provided a collection center. Initially, the people were sending it. The information we picked is that they are no longer willing to sell this waste to these people because if they sell it, and then how much you give them, but if they burn it, the items they need from those electrical gadgets they burn, they may get more. So I intend going to Agbogulushi. I feel that as a minister, I need to go there. I need to go and personally engage the people to find out why they are no longer selling the waste to the holding centers that we have. And I shall be doing that, God's will, inshallah, by next week.
Okay.
Yes, I will do that myself. Having engaged with all these agencies and engaged the Electronic Waste Fund, there's a particular amount of money that is given to them for the purposes of this. I feel that we must engage. We have already taken the decision to see if we can even up the incentives that we give them, and for me that will help.
Would you encourage a banning of single-use plastics?
You see, this question once again was put to me. Even GMO was put to me. It is fantastic to ban, but do we have alternative? What will be the socioeconomic effects if we go ahead and ban without having measures to have an alternative? So if you ask me, my solution is that yes, we may ban, we may take the processes and the steps to ensure that we provide the needed alternative. Reusable material, bags, containers, have paper bags. And that is why I told you earlier that we are engaging a consultant to see how best we can get international funding to support the various agencies and private entities for the purposes of building their capacity so that they can produce some of this. Rwanda didn't just get up to ban. They began a process. They put in a mechanism. There was a direct, conscious policy decision, and that is precisely what President Mahama has asked us to do, that he has a direct, conscious policy decision that gradually will be seeding this material, the non-degradable materials, and replacing them with materials that may not pose danger to the environment. Until we reach that stage, you can't just come out and say that we are banned.
Do we have a functioning recycling program in Ghana?
They are private entities that are holding them. I think that they are not enough, and the efficiency and the effectiveness for which those things are done, if they were that efficient, I don't think that we would have these problems. But at least we are trying.
Will that be part of your cocktail of solutions?
Absolutely.
For the plastic?
I've told you that we engage a consultant to see how best. Because the reason why we engage a consultant, we want to do it such that the state would not be spending money for that. We'll get international funding organizations that will be willing to do this. Carbon trading is one thing that is a game changer now. And these are some of the measures we are putting in place. That in as much as we may not have the resources as a state to do it at once, if we're able to get international funding organizations such as UNDP, such as the Africa Development Bank, we have what we call the JEF. JEF, we already have a JEF program that is ongoing. If we're able to get some of this funding, and I am very convinced with the interactions and the meetings, there's Friday, there's a meeting I will be attending once again with the representative of the World Bank and the United
Talk about
Nations.
water.
And we're able to get some funding for
water resources is under housing, but President Mahama spoke about the Blue Water Initiative.
Yes.
What does that mean? And in a minute, what are you doing to realize that?
The blue water is supposed to be blue. You're supposed to watch water bodies, and unfortunately, our water is not blue. It's like milk in tea. And I have seen people who will fetch the water. The Blue Water Initiative is to restore our water bodies to its natural state, where it is blue, and also to reclaim the degradable lands. And that's why President Mahama also said, every man per tree. And I said, we want to take it further, every child per tree. What we are doing is to see how best we can restore the destroyed water bodies through the activities of man in the case of Galamsey. And that's why I said it's a multi-pronged approach. You fight to stop it, but there are measures that are also put in place to ensure that the water bodies are cleaned. And I can tell you the meetings I had today. I had a meeting, the Minister for Lands was also in that meeting. Subsequently, we engaged them at the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology. And the technology they are bringing to ensure that we clean this water is outstanding. There are evidences of what they have done in other countries. Even in Europe and in America, people think that the destruction of the water bodies is just only in Africa. And they have indicated to us what they can do. So we are working towards restoring and fulfilling this Blue Water Initiative that President Mahama has in his
Today is February 19, 2025. When should I invite you back to give me an update on Galamsey?
Well, as and when the measures we put in place, if some of them that are supposed to be made public, I would have to give you a call and tell you that at this material moment...
Can we speak by May, June?
Hopefully.
Because that will be 4 or 5 months.
Hopefully. Hopefully.
You are not sounding optimistic.
I say hopefully. You see, I say hopefully because I don't want to give timelines. If you ask me, the measures we are putting in place, I can tell you confidently that avoiding any other unforeseen circumstances, there should be a very good, a positive story by the time. And I am very convinced that barring any unforeseen, circumstances, I am very convinced that by May, June, there should be some positive story we'll have to tell the people of this country.
Nashiru says, Murtala is great. I strongly believe he will make a positive difference in the fight against Galamsey. I wish him well. He's a vandal who was your senior or mate at Legon. It's early days. We'll talk again. Good luck. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Murtala is MP for Tamale Central, Minister for Environment, Science and Technology. Very determined to make a difference in that very sector. Thanks for watching tonight's edition of The Point of View. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.